Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from the Frontier. Thank you for stopping by. Let me start with some macro thoughts. Scoop. NEC Director Gary Cohn of Goldman Sachs has emerged, previously of Goldman Sachs, now of course Trump government, as the front runner to succeed Janet Yellen as Fed chair. US crude futures settled higher, 1.44% yesterday, currently trading at $45.92. My target remains $32 a barrel. Bitcoin, this is interesting, breaks triangle and empty channel to the downside, set to retest crucial June low, according to Finamics. You remember I recommended that trade at the beginning of the year and then recommended that we took money off the table a few weeks ago. I like this from Bloomberg, broken transmission, and it's making an important point that actually, whilst the US is hiking, financial conditions have actually loosened because of the fall in the dollar, which is gathering steam again because of Donald Trump Jr., but we'll get to that in a minute. My mind went back to the Fairmont Mount Kenya Safari Club, which was founded in Nyanyuki in 1959, and it became a mecca for the international jet set. And I started this article, which I wrote in 2012, quoting the flame trees of Thika. We were not going as far as that, only 2 days' journey in the ox cart to a bit of El Dorado. My father had been fortunate enough to buy in the bar of the Norfolk Hotel from a man wearing an old Etonian tie, says Elspeth Huxley's The Flame Trees of Thika, which is a beautiful and lyrical book. And on that note, because I'm talking about Mount Kenya Safari Club, this is a photograph of the sunrise tinting the clouds at Mount Kenya. Of course, I've been reading Wilfred Thesiger, much enjoyment, and just going to give you a few quotes. The harder the life, the finer the person. The deserts in which I have travelled had been blanks in time as well as space. They had no intelligible history. The nomads who inhabited them had no known past, he says. I tasted freedom in a way of life from which there could be no recall. I craved for the past, resented the present, and dreaded the future. This is a photograph of the sunrise from Smith Point, Long Island, thanks to Jim Simpson. And apparently, according to Vogue magazine, the best place to eat gelato is in Florence. Al-Thani, the foreign minister, tweeted, Foreign Secretary Rex Tillerson visit underlined Qatar's US strong strategic relations, military partnership, and joint counter-terrorism efforts. They seem to have pushed back sufficiently now against the various accusations from the GCC, but I can't see the GCC and its partners throwing in the towel. Yesterday I tweeted that Jared Kushner is the broker of our times, the Adnan Khashoggi at the court of King Donald. And I'll put up a photograph of Adnan Khashoggi from Time magazine. The reason Khashoggi also comes to mind is that he did once own the Mount Kenya Safari Club, and as I wrote, the property sits on the slopes of Mount Kenya. I've sat at the bar and half expected William Holden or Adnan Khashoggi to pop in. When I was a kid, this pool was ice cold, and getting in it was a rite of passage. Trump Jr. welcomed the Russian offer to damage Clinton. I love it, the Sun responded when told a Moscow lawyer had detrimental material on arrival. In the emerging White House narrative, Trump Jr. is an outsider, a well-connected freelancer who wasn't speaking or acting on behalf of his father. The Daily Show has a video, a Russian, an email, and an idiot. Did Donald Trump Jr. incriminate himself? 22nd of May, I wrote a piece, Apocalypse Trump, and it does feel, certainly the currency markets are very wobbly now. We could see a big move, things like the yen, the euros moved to more than a year high. And the dollar's plunged on the Trump Jr. controversy, but it's been plunging for a while. Take a look at this chart from Holger. CNBC headline, dollar tanks, gold jumps amid latest Trump scandal. I just like the photograph. And of course, I've spoken about this before. In that article, we have a deviate tomahawk. And I said then, I have no doubt that Putin ran a seriously 21st century, predominantly digital program of interference which amplified the Trump candidacy. I was quoting Beppe Grillo, who said that traditional media has been disrupted and the insurgents can now broadcast live and over the top. And I said, from feeding the hothouse conspiracy frenzy online, a constant state of destabilized perception, timely and judicious doses of WikiLeaks leaks, which drained Hillary's bona fides and her turnout and motivated Trump's. I said what we have witnessed is something remarkable and noteworthy. Putin has proved himself an information master, and his adversaries are his information victims. And I still stand by that. He is actually a geopolitical grandmaster. Look what a situation is woven. International markets, Fed's Yellen heads to Congress wondering why the job market is hot and wages are not. This is something people have been thinking about for quite a while. Singapore ex-banker admits to money laundering in case linked to Malaysia State Fund 1 MDB. You can't make that story up. The link for it is there. Let's move on to the currency markets. Euro-dollar surged overnight, but is coming off a little bit. It was still at 114.61. Dollar index is at 95.58. Japanese yen 113.51. Big reversal, got as high as 114.50 yesterday. Swiss franc 0.9628. The pound 128.23. The Aussie 0.7646. India rupee 64.535. South Korean won 11.4581. Brazilian real 3.2543. The Egyptian pound, as I've said, bullish about that, 17.9020. And the South African rand 13.5106. And that feels as if it's rolled over. The rand is short with quite a tight stop actually. Dollar index, take a look at this. It looks to me that 93.50 level of support is where we're headed. Euro dollar, a little bit of a pullback maybe today, but I think we're going to 117.50. I found this interesting. 26.9% of all consumer spending in the UK is now done online. I see no reason why it shouldn't be the same here, because everyone's on a smartphone. Commodity markets, gold, last time I looked, 12.20. Hasn't traded well, has it? Emerging markets, S&P expects Venezuela inflation to be 950% in 2017. Sees government deficit around 20 to 25% of GDP in 2017. And as I've said separately, and last time I wrote about it was in May, I said Nicolas Maduro's Venezuela is at breaking point. Other capitals are surely going to run out of options. Sub-Saharan Africa, China sends troops to Djibouti for opening of military base. Ships carrying military personnel from Beijing's first overseas military base in Djibouti in the Horn of Africa have left China to begin setting up the facility, state news agency Xinhua has reported. Djibouti's position on the northwestern edge of the Indian Ocean has fueled worries in India that it would become another of China's string of pearls of military alliances and assets ringing India, including Bangladesh, Myanmar and Sri Lanka. China is carving out a much more forward position, whether it's in the South China Sea or here on the Indian Ocean. Zambia's parliament voted on Tuesday to extend the state of emergency by 3 months, the presidency said. However, no one voted against Act 31 imposing a state of emergency in Zambia because opposition MPs are suspended from parliament. So it's a very strange situation, and I think President Lungu should take a step back. IMF has told DR Congo that a credible path toward political stability will probably be a condition of any assistance package. You can say that again. South African oil shares up 3.4% so far this year. Dollar versus rand, we're in a new range here, 1340, 1440, I think. The Egyptian pound, as I've said, I'm bullish about that. We're at 17.9020. Nigeria's Aliko Dangote is to invest $4.6 billion in agriculture. Dangote Group, controlled by Africa's richest man, Dangote, plans to invest $3.8 billion in sugar and rice and $800 million in dairy production in the next 3 years as the company seeks to expand and deal with the shortage of dollars needed to import raw materials. The conglomerate plans to increase its production of sugar to 1.5 million metric tons a year by 2020, from 100,000 tons now, and is seeking to add 1 million tons of rice. The company also plans to have 50,000 cattle producing 500 million litres of milk a year by 2019, he said. They're not thinking small, are they? A lack of foreign exchange means companies need to invest in local agriculture to help meet demand for food from Nigeria's population of more than 180 million. All raw sugar has to be imported today, same thing for flour milling. Nigerian oil shares done rather well this year. It's up 22.15% year to date. Ghana Stock Exchange, that's done well as well, up 19.42% year to date. S&P has lowered Congo Brazzaville's sovereign credit rating to CCC from B-. Republic of Congo foreign currency ratings lowered to CCC, put on credit watch negative after restraining notices. Zimbabwe is set to cut more than a third of its workforce. Goodness, I wouldn't fancy flying on that. Airline has $330 million of debts, banned from operating in the EU in May, doesn't currently fly there. Kenya Wall Street tweeted yesterday, Nakumatt owes suppliers 15 billion shillings, 10 banks 8 billion, additional debt of 7 billion in commercial paper. And I, tongue-in-cheek, said if there was a secondary market, where would that commercial paper be trading? And I asked 50 cents on the dollar, I think. Someone else said about 12. Opportunity knocks for Kenya's mining sector. This is the article I wrote yesterday about how the situation in Tanzania and South Africa is creating an open sesame moment for Kenya. A unique moment for Kenya Inc. when it can leapfrog old mining jurisdictions like Tanzania and South Africa. So over to you, CS Dan Kazulu. The shilling is 103.90. Nairobi all shares up 14.14%. I've got a big apology to make. Our live feed and servers really got messed up. We're hoping to get it fixed today. I do apologize. NSE 20 is up 13.01% year to date. Taken one early morning this week in the Masai Mara. She really is quite beautiful, so smart, alert, regal, and so totally unfazed by me, David Yarrow. Once again, thank you for stopping by. Let's keep an eye on what happens in the States, but one can't help feel that this thing has now got a momentum of its own.